Hi, everybody. Welcome to Reserve Seating. This is a very special episode for multiple reasons. The first is that we're joined by JB and Jan. How are you both doing from sunny California?
Terrific.
Great.
The weather here is delightful.
And somebody's celebrating a birthday this week, so leave a comment and wish JB a happy birthday.
Yes, to all my enemies, I made it to 63 just to spite you.
We are celebrating two movies from 1998. Rushmore, directed by Wes Anderson and starring Jason Schwartzman in a star-making performance, Olivia Williams and Bill Murray. And then Slums of Beverly Hills, directed by Tamara Jenkins and starring Natasha Lyonne, I think in her screen debut.
Another star-making performance.
Another
Yeah.
star-making performance, Alan Arkin, David Krumholtz,
So
Marissa
good.
Tomei. Rob, you picked Rushmore. So what is your history with Rushmore and why did you pick it?
I picked Rushmore mostly because we don't do a lot of Wes Anderson on our particular program. And
Mm.
I never really, I don't know that we've really talked about Wes too much. And this is, a lot of people, I think's first Wes Anderson film. I know Bottle Rocket obviously came before. This was certainly my first Wes Anderson movie. The movie itself is just, I just think on like kind of undeniable. I still think for whatever your feelings about Wes Anderson, I think this is before his Dollhouse period. So I feel like a lot of people, this is the people, many people prefer this era of Wes Anderson, and would look at something like this and Tenenbaums as kind of his sort of peak. I love Dollhouse Anderson. I love Grand Budapest, and I love Moonrise Kingdom. Like I love his quirkier stuff. So I don't see as much of a delineation between the two as some folks do, but I just think it's great performances all around. It's aged, I think, pretty well. There's like a few things here and there that maybe don't work anymore, but for the most part, I just still think it's a great entry level Wes Anderson. It's a great coming of age story. I just think that there's a lot here still to love about this movie, and I never really get tired of it.
I agree with your delineation about the dollhouse,
Yeah.
but thinking about it, except maybe for Pulp Fiction, I can't think of any director's second film where he is more fully formed.
He's right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rushmore announces, in
Yes.
fact, some people who take a dim view of the Dollhouse films might actually say that Rushmore surpasses them for a number of reasons. Like you said, I see fewer differences between the Dollhouse and Rushmore and Tannenbaums, but this is a remarkably accomplished movie in so many ways, considering that it's his second.
Having seen more post Tannenbaum's Anderson informed my viewing of Rushmore in a way that I wasn't aware of at the time to see just how much he really is there. A lot of the stuff that we associate with that post Tannenbaum's Anderson, the symmetry, the play within the play, the
The trucking
yep,
shot.
yep,
Yeah.
exactly. The use of slow-mo, the full frame kind of face forward, is it's all there. It's just in a more in a little bit more standardized style that sort of disguises it, but it's all there.
He's playing in a genre because he's not a genre yet.
Exactly.
Hmm.
That's really
And
what
one of the only reasons that I think that Rushmore and Tannenbaums are not more Dollhouse is that that's a function of art direction.
Yeah.
And as he gets bigger budgets, he's
Easier
better
to-
able to shape everything in the frame and
It's
make it
Exactly.
artificial.
it's spiritually there, if not literally there.
He didn't get into like his animation period yet, and I think that informed a lot of like his post live action work because it's almost like he found a new way to use a canvas in
Mm.
terms of blocking and set direction and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
that's really interesting.
in a format where he could be even more controlling.
The characters as well are very
Okay. Totally.
especially the central character is this very Anderson-y kind of lost
Sociopath.
Challenger character.
right, this lost genius who just needs to grow up a little bit and I found myself having a little more sympathy to him now as I'm a little older than I did during some of my first viewings of Rushmore.
Totally.
I would like to propose a Rushmore drinking game. You need to take a shot every time a character opens curtains or drapes and they resemble the curtain in a theater. You will be
Yes.
going to the emergency
Yes.
room before everyone's dancing in the film's last shot.
No, I will be becoming my best self, is what you mean.
I have a weird relationship with Rushmore because it's a movie I desperately don't want to like, and then it wins me over every time I watch it. I just everything about it, like, and I don't feel this way about Wes Anderson movies all the time, but everything about it just feels like I'm consciously doing my Harold and Maude, like I'm making this movie in quotation marks, and I'm always won over by. I love the detail that Jason Schwartzman's character is really good at everything that he does, and that his curse is just he's immature. But like you never doubt that he's somebody who has a good heart and is going to find his way and everything like that. And I feel the same way almost about the Bill Murray performance, where like sometimes I'm really in on Bill Murray, and then sometimes I'm really not. And it's like it's like Wes Anderson finding him unlocked Bill Murray for the next 25 years in a way otherwise he could have just been doing larger than life for the rest of his life.
Oh my
So
God.
it's cool. It's like Bill Murray found a kindred spirit in a way, or somebody who like saw something in him similar to how Sofia Coppola saw something in him. And it's like he's lucky that these auteurs grew up with him and kind of cracked the formula of what a Bill Murray performance is.
Yeah, he and Coppola use his sadness in a different way than it was being used in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
And John, as a teacher, and like there's a Max Fisher in every grade,
You got that right, because I was gonna correct Adam about one thing. Max Fisher is amazing at everything except school subjects.
School.
But don't you think he could have done well in school? Like he seems like a smart guy. I just think that he doesn't want to apply himself to it.
Of course.
Or he's applying himself.
Well, and he's too busy being the sponsor of 87 extracurriculars.
Sure, right.
That tends to eat into your day.
But maturity is part of maturity is recognizing that you can't just do the stuff you're good at. You can't just do the stuff you love. You have to manage your life and to take care of your life as well.
I would also argue that there's at least one moment in every Wes Anderson film where we push aside the ironic and the twee.
Yeah.
The most obvious one that everyone quotes is at the end of Tannenbaums.
Ben Stiller.
When Ben Stiller says that line, it just wrecks you.
Yep.
And I would like to suggest that for me, that moment in Rushmore might be when Max and Bill Murray exchange the pins. I'll take punctuality.
Punctuality, yeah.
It's a great quiet moment that's not understated, but in that they recognize how much they have in common.
I really like Magnus, the Ewan McGregor from Trainspotting guy.
Ewan McGregor, yeah.
But for me, like a line that really sticks with me is when he finally owns up. He's just like, I always wanted to be in one of your stupid plays. And it's like,
and that's one of those moments too.
It's like hurt people. That's what that's all about. So,
and the parallel moment to that, Adam, is at the very end when Max says, and this is my father, Saul. He's a barber.
Yep.
It's accepting the truth as something to be proud of and letting that take you somewhere, which really happened for Magnus when he finally admitted that's where his resentment came from. He was great in that play.
I was just going to say, at the end, when we see him, he's honestly good.
So our next movie is Slums of Beverly Hills, which was JB and Jan's pick. So why don't you tell us kind of your history with the movie and why you picked this one?
Well, first of all, to me, there was a real connection to Rushmore, partly in this theme of what you'll do to better yourself or to better your appearance or to better your education, because it both involves disadvantaged kids going to better schools and trying in some ways to be who they're not when who they are is not something to reject as much as they're rejecting.
We look back on it with great fondness because when we originally saw it, it was surely the month it came out originally.
Mhm.
And we knew nothing going in, and we were just gobsmacked by how good it was.
Okay.
Look at the cast, talk about being front loaded, and that it was a swell surprise, and that every facet of it is really interesting. It's that whole Siskel thing about 3 good scenes and no bad scenes. It also contains 2 actors who I often confuse with each other, and this does nothing but compound the confusion. Her neighbor would-be boyfriend and
Krumholtz
her
and
older brother,
Yeah.
the other guy.
Kevin
I
Corrigan.
often think they're the
Corrigan.
same human being.
Yeah.
I love
So-
Krumholtz in this though. As
Oh,
the
The
father.
scene where he sings in his underwear is one of the 3 great scenes in this movie. Luck be a lady tonight. Also, the Sizzler, which
Yeah.
I think they've all closed. There might be 1 or 2 left.
I still miss the Ponderosa. Did you guys have Ponderosa?
I used to work at the Ponderosa, Rob. That was my first job.
All right, all right, all right.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Wags. I miss you, Wags.
I think Jan was the soda pop girl, and then they elevated her to a dinner roll girl.
No, steak walker. I was a steak walker.
Snake Walker.
That sounds like it's from a low budget horror film. Oh, gentlemen, it's the steak walker. You need to run.
I'm just going to throw something out there that will maybe not be super fun. I did not enjoy this film.
What?
This is my first time seeing it. And I'm wondering if maybe there was something I had to see, feel, know, experience that I wasn't getting. I think my big issue with this movie is Tamara Jenkins, I don't think has a particularly good grasp of tone in this. I don't necessarily know that the parts that I'm meant to sympathize with the characters are entirely clear. I'm not entirely sure that the autobiographical nature of the movie, which apparently it was severely very autobiographical, necessarily translates well to what she's trying to do with the genre of movie she's making. The movie's like very acerbic and very like, I don't want to say it's mean spirited, but it's got a 90s ennui to it that is like, I don't think lassoed in a way that helps the movie hold up. I don't know if that's just me. I don't know. Adam, where are you on this one?
I'm surprised you're saying that because I thought it was really good.
I find the tonal shifts, and I agree, tonally, it's all over
Yeah.
the place. I'm not saying it was deliberate, but it certainly mirrors their situation.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
They don't know from day to day what their reality is going to be.
So I guess I'm looking at it as a viewer versus the characters. Like there is I think for me, just kind of a disconnect in terms of what I'm always meant to be feeling. And I don't know. Adam, I'm sorry, interrupting.
No, it's fine. I don't have any type of real intelligent criticism about it. Like I just know that when I watched it, I didn't enjoy it very much. I guess I'll just kind of say that. I think it's a family that I found to be unlikable and I didn't like spending time with. And maybe that's the point. I don't know. If it's autobiographical, I'm assuming Tamara Jenkins doesn't feel that way about her own family. But I was watching the Siskel and Ebert review, and they were saying like kind of what a good guy Alan Alda is, and I didn't read that at all. And
Yeah.
because
Ebert liked this,
he's
right?
racist at an early scene, and like
Yeah.
he's groping Marissa Tomei, which can never be explained away. Like
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
so
It needs to go away.
I don't know. I mean, it's not a movie that I'm like really wrestling with. I just watched it and I didn't really care for it too much. I've liked other Tamara Jenkins movies, but for whatever reason, this one just didn't click for me.
Adam and Rob, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you think the movie dates? Because viewing some of it now, it's like I think it's so set in the 70s
Mhm.
that I almost
Right.
forget it's actually a 90s movie.
Yeah.
It does
So I
feel,
expect
yeah,
it to
like a
behave
70s
more
movie.
like a 2020 movie set in the 70s than a 90s movie set in the 70s.
I think the movie reflects the attitudes of the 70s well. When I say the movie has a 90s ennui to it, I think like it's very much the 70s through the prism of the 90s, I think,
Yeah,
personally. Yeah.
yeah, I
And along
agree.
the lines, I just want to say real quick, I agree with you that this is like Natasha Lyonne, like star making, like she's like I think she's like 19 when she's making this. She's
Yeah,
incredibly good. I feel like the movie is asking Alan Arkin to do what Alan Arkin does. Um, the young male characters are doing what they do. The movie has an odd makes odd use of Marissa Tomei, I think, in a
Yeah.
way where I feel like she's dramatically underserved by this,
mm,
where she has those couple scenes that you alluded to, John, but I don't know necessarily that I love, especially coming off of something like My Cousin Vinny, where she wins an Oscar.
yeah.
I
I was gonna say,
don't
you mean Oscar winner? Oscar winner Marissa Tomei?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think that this movie asks enough of her and gives her quite I don't know. I don't want to like I want to be where you guys are. I honestly do
Mm,
because I can see the parallels with Rushmore. Like, and I always like seeing something I've never seen before. And again, I like a lot of the performers in this film. That just to me, it was just that tonal balance, the character stuff that Adam alluded to. I wasn't finding it funny in a way where, like we talked with Rushmore, where it's like there's the twee and then there's that heart there. I
hmm.
wasn't picking up enough of that in terms of what I'm supposed to think, aside from if I grew up in this era thinking, wow, I remember those things. My family was like that too. To
Yeah.
me, that's not really enough.
And I'm
Mm,
thinking you may have hit it on the head when you talked about tone, because I think one of the things this film does that might alienate some viewers
Yeah.
is there's a glossed over affectionate view of family that we're often fed by movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the reality, the real reality, that family is difficult and sometimes ugly. And
Yeah.
if anything, this film shifts schizophrenically
Mhm.
between those two views.
I think that's
They
where I'm at
stick
with it.
together and they go to Sizzler, and that's heartwarming. And then Alan Arkin is groping Marissa Tomei, and that is honestly disturbing. It seems as though you would have been happier had it chosen one of those,
I think so.
either one, and
Either one.
pursued it. One more reason to
Yeah.
at least watch Slums of Beverly Hills. I went back and looked at some stuff, and I was reminded it contains the great lost Three Dog Night hit, Shambhala. That song is not played enough.
this is very early in Jenkins' career,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So could this, I mean, this was her first big theatrical
Mm.
release, but could this be also sort of a sophomore slump? You know,
It
I'm
could
I'm
be.
I'm making, I had success with my early work or my shorts or whatever, and now I have to make another movie, and so I'm going to turn to my autobiography. I don't know. I'm just trying to,
To me, this is the
Weird.
definition of what Patrick calls an ambitious failure, where it's like
yeah.
it's a movie that's trying for something and it doesn't. It's just the reach is a little beyond the grasp, and it's kind of like. But again, that career evolves, and there's plenty of good stuff to come. So
And the
I
other
don't know. I
thing,
mean, like for me, like I really like The Savages, which she
mm,
directed, and I think that it's just more my flavor of this difficult family situation is
mm,
just to tell it more dramatically and not really even have airs of it being a comedy. But that's just personal taste and
yeah,
everything. So yeah, I wouldn't dissuade anybody from watching Slums of Beverly Hills, especially on a double bill with Rushmore, because you're
yeah.
celebrating sort of pseudo studio indie cinema of 1998 because it was like the majors having their minors division, so to speak, like kind of throw one out there and try one out. So
I have to ask you, do you think one reason we relate to Slums of Beverly Hills is that it's our era? That it's Jenkins is like kind of our age. So that was our growing up. And our family situations were
As
different.
Rob was telling us what he
That,
thought of the movie,
yeah,
yeah,
that's the first thing I thought of.
that milieu, again, I'm loving that word today, but
We
that
were
era,
Natasha Lyonne's age in the
yeah.
70s.
it's
yeah.
possible.
JB, Jan, thank you so much for joining us. You're our favorite guest to have on for F This Movie Fest week, so really glad to have you back here this week.
Love you
And
guys.
also, I know it's almost nightfall, and that's prime time for steak walkers. Real quick, around the horn,
Yes,
what movie are you most looking forward to at F This Movie Fest this Saturday?
Jan.
Um, um, Snake Eyes, because it is a Nick Cage movie that I have not seen.
Oh, okay.
Jan.
Big Lebowski.
Rob,
Oh, my boy Ben and Armageddon.
there you go. I'm gonna go The Faculty because I bought a Faculty t-shirt.
Hell yeah.
So I'll
Can't
I'll
wait to see
support
you in
my
it.
Josh Hartnett man crush. So we will be back next week with a mailbag episode. Adam Foss will be joining us again.
Nice.
So until next time.
These seats have childhood trauma.